I was just sitting here thinking about where I was last year when I was on this porch, or just in this season. And that's something that I have been doing for, we'll just say, several years. And it's not just every summer, but it's like the change in season, or just when I'm just trying to get present. I'm like, okay, what was I doing last year? Identify it. What was the year before, year before, year before. In this post-traumatic growth. Oh, that's all fucking, maybe that's what we're going to talk about today. I wrote some notes because I can't remember. This post-traumatic growth period. Post-traumatic growth. I heard that, first time I heard that, I was at I guess you call it a conference. It's a gathering put on by the TAPS group. So TAPS is it's called Tragedy Assistance Programs for Survivors. So it is the surviving family members of someone who has died while they were active, or veterans of the military in any capacity. Like they either, yeah. But then they have a specific 1 week a year seminar for suicide survivors, whether your spouse, sibling, parents is like who it's open to, whether they were active duty or they were veterans. Anyway, I went a year after Dan died. I'm glad I don't know. I'm like kind of glad I didn't go, because he died in August, and then I could have gone. It was like October, but it was like just too fresh, and I couldn't. I was like, that seems like maybe. Anyway, why am I? Okay. So anyway, and when I was at that seminar, I heard that term post-traumatic growth, and I was like, it was a concept to me at the time. Like, oh, that would be nice. Like how space travel is really a concept to me because I've never done it. I'm not saying it's not real. It's just like, it's a yeah, I can't touch it, feel it, or speak to its experience. So, it's real. Just like post-traumatic growth, I was like, oh, that sounds like that's a real thing. I don't know what that is, though. So in this post-traumatic growth time period, I have done a lot of, you could call it comparing, like comparing myself to where I was a year prior or a season prior or whatever. I think because comparison is just all the time anyway. I think my intention is more to find where I've grown, or like, yeah, where's the growth? Did I grow since last year? Did I learn something that I didn't know? Or did I get further along in learning something that I'm still trying to know? That's what, do you know that's what it is when you keep coming up against the same exact thing? Like the characters change, but the scenario is the same. Like if you keep dating the same guy, like it's different. There's like let's make up 3 names that I have never, I don't know. I can't. It's just different actual humans, but the story is the same. They're the same type. You keep doing that because you haven't gotten what you need to know. Because if you knew what you needed to know, you would have moved on from that scenario. Just like what I was talking about last video, the leveling up. We level up in all areas. It's not like, oh, I am as a whole person on level 1, and then my whole person is going to advance to level 2. It doesn't work that way. You advance in the areas that you put effort into. Yeah, like there's no level up fairy for you, but actually there is, because we are just being handed opportunities. Like, are you ready to learn this thing now, or do you want to just keep sleeping in the back of the class? Like thinking that you'll absorb the information via osmosis just by being around it. You won't. And I know for me, I will not change anything until I am sick enough of it. So and maybe this is everybody. Now that I say it out loud, see, that's the thing. That is the thing about saying things out loud or writing them down, getting it out of your head, because then you can hear it and sometimes hear the ridiculousness, which is typically the feeling that happens, is like you feel stupid, like what were you even worried about in there? But when it gets trapped, when it's all trapped up in your head, it bounces around and I don't know, it gets like scary. Okay, hold up, where were we? I'll tell you, I watch these videos back and I'm like, I want to shake myself, like, girl, come on, bring it back to the train station. But I think I have just always been this way, well, at least in the last bunch of years. And other people that I am around experience this, the train bringing you back to the train station, but I haven't because, again, I don't have a memory. But I do have a fresh, super cold, ruby red grapefruit polar seltzer. I can't imagine what it would be like to be sponsored and have to say a tagline. I think I would do what Dax does on Armchair Expert, which is my favorite podcast ever, and I've listened to every episode except for the last 3. I am just behind, but every single one. That's a lot. It's like twice a week, and it's like maybe 3 hours total. It's not like fucking Joe. Never mind. Seltzer. Rewind. Back to the train station. Here we go. Seasons. Comparison. Where's the growth? And what I find a lot of times is, it's so interesting. I am typically, I am typically looking for the growth or the silver lining or the what's good about this when I don't feel good. Can you imagine, I'm sure this has been said before and thought before, but can you imagine if mental health was visual? Like you were broken out in something like a bunch of black fly bites or gaping wounds. If your anxiety and depression had a look like that, good Lord. Anyway, so when I don't feel good, I'm talking mentally, I try to find, okay, well, I can find something good, and then I will feel that. And I think that's typically, that's a natural instinct. We want to feel better. Like going back to nature, like cave people. I always like to start at the beginning, either the beginning of a person's life or the beginning of our lives and our existences. Because everything, to a point, that we do or prefer or have instincts for, they're there for a reason. There's no reason. We were not created with no reason in mind. And the way that I know that is looking at every other single living thing. And I don't just mean animals or like your dog. Of course, we want to think dogs are so wonderful and great and they're so intelligent, which they are, but so are all the other things. I mean, I don't think that a grasshopper has the same level of intelligence as a dog, but it's still a living thing with a purpose. We all have a purpose, and it all works together. When one thing gets out of whack, it fucks up all the other things. It's like I think about the wolves and the deer. So the wolves, or the coyotes, I guess, because I think in upstate New York it's coyotes and not wolves. But coyotes are like a combination of a dog and a wolf, right? I think so. I feel like I heard the story a long time ago. Anyway, when the coyote population is when there's a lot of them, then the deer population goes way, way down. And you're like, oh, that sucks, we gotta save the deer. But when the deer population goes down, then all the coyotes can't eat as much, their reproduction slows down, they start to decrease in numbers, and then the deer population comes back, and then the food is plentiful, and the wolves are there, and it's like that. That's just an example of how two things are connected. But like, if you think about the bees pollinate flowers or plants, and then the vegetables feed us, or they feed animals. Say you feed it to, are pigs vegetarian? No, pigs will eat anything. You feed the animals, we eat the animals, then we go back into the dirt, vice versa. Though for the record, I do not eat the animals. And even though it has been 27 years that I have had the opportunity to come to accept that how I think and feel is different than other people, more recently, I feel very passionate about it. Not like I'm gonna give a lot of speeches about it, because I think we should all, it just makes me really fucking sad. Really fucking sad. Yesterday, we were driving out to wherever we were going, and it was all these like back roads and farms and things. So I'm in my car with the kids, and Chris is in his truck, so you gotta park at two different things. Anyway, I'm like looking ahead, and I see these things that look like strategically placed, like big dog houses on this land. I'm like, what is that? And I'm of course driving, and it's windy, so I can't just rubberneck over there for 30 seconds. I gotta like, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? So Olivia goes, oh, there's animals in them. And then she's like, oh, I think they're cows. And I was like, oh, that's probably they're veal. They're veal. I don't know if you know what veal is or not, or if you've really ever thought about it or not. Veal is, yeah, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but also there's no way that I'm gonna change my mind about this, so, which is good to recognize. You may not change your mind about the thing that I'm saying. That's not, I'm just here to offer something that maybe you didn't think about, and if you already thought about it, great, you'll think about it again. Anyway, veal is it's a young cow kept in a very small area so that their meat stays tender, so they don't build muscle, they don't get exercise. And then when they are just profitable enough in size, but still have that tender baby meat, then they are killed to become veal. Can you imagine? I have no idea how we got here. Post-traumatic growth comparison, looking back. Silver lining, where's the growth? I don't know, if I need to follow up, I will. But let's go back to, so last video I was talking about trauma and depression affecting your memory, and I feel like I didn't say everything that I wanted to say about it because I got distracted. So that's to just, if you haven't caught on now, that's just how that's gonna go. I'll like listen back. Oh yeah, that. No, what about this? Anyway, that's why I like wrote something down today. I was gonna say you should be proud of me. You don't gotta feel any certain way about me. Nope. So trauma and memory loss. It's because our bodies, as I was just talking about, nature, are so intelligently designed, our bodies and our minds, that we are always trying to protect ourselves, whether it's, with your reflexes or how your organs operate, or how like one thing will shut down in order to save the other thing. We do not want to experience trauma. We do not want to experience pain. We don't like it. And so when something traumatic happens, we disassociate from our bodies and from the experience so that we don't write that memory as deeply, or write that experience as deeply into our memory as something else that we want to remember. So it's like you black out. God, that's amazing. It's kind of like when you're gonna pass out. Christina explained the whole thing to me. I will have a very hard time remembering it now, but on a recent hike, we were hiking, and I went to step up onto like a really big step, and I didn't see this like very rigid tree branch sticking out. It was like super thick. It didn't move, and I lifted my knee with such force because I was like gonna take a big step that it like jammed into my knee, and I immediately was like, uh-oh, am I gonna pass out? Dizzy, vision, hearing, all of it. Nauseous. I was like, fuck, come on. Like, we're just trying to go. So then she explained it to me. We protect our bodies at all costs. And then that includes the mind, because if your mind sucks, then all the rest of the shit doesn't really work that well. Or you figure ways around it. And anyway, so we dissociate in times when we need to, but then we then determine more times that we feel that we need to. But it's not saying, trauma is an area for growth, as we started the whole thing, post-traumatic growth. Not that you want to seek it out, but it is an opportunity for growth. Man. Yeah, we start finding more and more things that we just can't handle. Because the stress response goes down, the ability to handle stress. Your stress response is shit. It's in the shitter. So something somewhat stressful happens and you blow it up because you don't have the ability to deal with that thing. And when you don't have the ability to deal with something, then you disassociate from it. If you're just trying to get through your day, you're disassociating from it. If you're trying to get through a really hard workout, you disassociate from your body. I feel it is highly unlikely that top performing athletes, or even you, if you go super hard at the gym, when you're maxing out doing fucking amazing shit, you know who I know? Sean definitely disassociates from his experience. He blacks out. You push yourself to a place where your mind cannot. It's choosing not to write that experience into your memory. So the more time you spend disassociating from your body and from your experience, the less memory you're going to have. And I think it takes some of the energy from your place to create memories and puts more of it over here into the do not remember this fucking thing. So it becomes a needle in the haystack, the things you actually want to remember. Bring it back full circle. Then you're going through the haystack. Then you find yourself in a place where all of the joy isn't prevalent. You go through the haystack. You find some needles because you're looking for them. And because you're looking for them, you start finding more and more and more and more and more. And then comes back the joy. Here we are, doing great. This is awesome. All these months are passing, and I don't even notice anything. All of a sudden, things start taking a little dive. What's good? Because I'm down here at the bottom. Will I ever come back up to the top? I don't know. What happened last time? What happened last year? What happened the year before that? Here we are. The cycle continues. Forever and ever and ever. Forever. I want to be nice about it. I want to give you this information if you weren't sure. But I also want to be a dick about it because maybe you were hopeful that this was going to stop. It's not. The cycle will continue. I don't think that there's a menopause for your mental cycles, for your life cycles, just your uterine cycles. And in the moments when it sucks, when you're down there, in the bottom of the well, lonely. Ugh, it's so lonely. Just look over. You're in the bottom of the well. Just flip up the, the thing you do in the bottom of your phone, and then the vital things come up. Put on the flashlight. Stay with me. You want to get this because you're going to envision this. You're going to paint a picture of it in your own head because I was just doing it, and you will definitely do it. And if you weren't going to automatically do it, I'm asking you to do it because this is going to help. Take your flashlight on your phone, and you're going to pretend. You're going to turn it over to the side next to you, and you're going to see all the little tick marks, and then the slashes completing a 5, and then more tick marks, and another slash and tick marks. And another slash of the number of times that you've been down here before and you made it out. That's what we forget when we're at the bottom. We've made it out all those other times. Because if we didn't make it out, we wouldn't have come back in order to make another mark. But anxiety and depression will tell you, no, this time's different. You're going to be down here forever. And if you listen to it, then you just lay right down and make yourself comfortable. It's very comfortable down there at the bottom because it can't get any worse. And that's what's so scary, is the fall down the well. And it's scary when you become so in tune with it that you can feel yourself at the side of the well and you know you're going to fall in. My heart is beating faster just thinking about it, because I can just like feel that, like all the breath just gets knocked out of you. And it lasts for however long it lasts, or it comes in waves, and then the tide goes out. But then somehow, just like the seasons, you know, especially if you live in upstate New York or someplace that snows, it's summer again. We made it again. Out of the dark, out of the cold, we made it out of the well again.